Co-parenting shared expenses list. Streamlining financial responsibilities for co-parents. There's one thing they don't tell you when you get divorced: the ongoing division of expenses for your shared children is a whole new ball game. It's about making financial decisions that are in your child's best interests, having open communication, and understanding that these expenses are not just about money. How to talk about finances when co-parenting. As a parent, there are certain financial obligations you have, but talking about your children's expenses with your former partner can be extremely awkward. But to foster a positive relationship between you and your co-parent, it's best to set aside the awkwardness and open a dialogue. Set expectations and boundaries at the start. Setting clear expectations and boundaries is the best way to approach co-parenting financially. For some families, this might mean drawing up an agreement that outlines what each of you will be responsible for regarding your child's expenses. Talk out your concerns together. Talking openly about your thoughts and feelings on finances can help both parties understand each other and agree on how the expenses should be handled. It's also important to talk about your concerns as a co-parent. Openly discussing these topics will help you come to an agreement, identify any areas of disagreement, and keep the conversation going. Be respectful and compassionate. It's easy to get frustrated when talking about finances with your co-parent, but it's important to remain respectful and compassionate throughout the process. You don't have to agree on everything, but stay respectful and treat your co-parent kindly. Find a system that works for both of you. This could be as simple as having one parent pay for all the expenses while the other contributes in other ways, or a more detailed agreement that splits everything down to the penny. No matter what system you decide upon, confirm both parents are on board and that your child is cared for. Have these discussions away from the child. Last but certainly not least, having these discussions away from your child is necessary. Financial conversations can be stressful and emotional and should be kept away from your child. How to decide what expenses should be shared. Now that you know how to start the dialogue with your co-parent, it's time to discuss deciding what expenses should be shared. Every family will have different needs and preferences when sharing expenses. 5 examples of potential shared child-related expenses. Medical expenses. When it comes to your child's health care, you and your co-parent must be 100% on the same page regarding the costs. There are 2 main things you need to consider when it comes to medical expenses. 1. Health insurance. 2. Medical bills. Child care and education expenses. Child care and education are both significant expenses but can add up quickly. So, agreeing on how you will deal with these expenses is non-negotiable. Here are some child care and education expenses to think about when planning. Daycare fees. School fees. Before and after school daycare fees. Transportation fees if applicable. School supplies. Field trips. Childcare costs during school. Breaks. Summer camp. Extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities are an essential part of your child's development and growth. Not only do they provide something fun to do, but they can also help foster teamwork, encourage physical activity, learn new skills, and build self-confidence. Travel expenses. When it comes to traveling, it's important to discuss how you will handle the cost of travel. Will both parents contribute equally to every trip? You should also ensure that you both clearly understand the financial responsibility for airfare, hotel stays, excursions, and other travel expenses. Cell phones. With your children living in separate households, sometimes giving them a cell phone can be in everyone's best interest. While this is an extra expense, it gives both parents a way to communicate with their child via text messages or phone calls at any time and ensure they always feel connected. Future financial planning. Thinking about and contributing to your child's financial future now and together as co-parents can make a massive difference for your child in the long run. Whether setting up a special savings account, investing in mutual funds, or saving money for their college, having this discussion now and making sure you are both on the same page can be invaluable for your child over time. How to factor child support payments into the equation. For the division of expenses to be fair for both parents, you should consider child support payments when factoring in shared costs. If both parents have to work, you might mutually agree that this cost needs to be split 50-50 outside of child support, leaving child support to pay for your child's other expenses, such as food, clothing, school fees, etc. 5 different ways to manage shared expenses. Once you and your co-parent have agreed on how you will deal with shared expenses, you must also consider how you will manage the shared costs. Number 1. Joint bank account. If you're comfortable sharing a joint account with your co-parent only for the finances related to your shared children, this may be an excellent option. You could add money to the account to pay for expenses as needed. Number 2. Shared credit card. Alternatively, if you're both financially responsible and have a good relationship that puts your child's needs first, you might consider sharing a credit card. You could use this to pay for all the monthly expenses, and then each parent would pay off their portion of the respective balance at the end of the month. Number 3. Split payments. Splitting payments may be a better option to avoid any financial entanglements with your co-parent. One parent will pay for the expense with this method, and the other will reimburse them. Number 4. Joint shopping lists. This method may be a better option for everyday expenses such as groceries, clothing, hygiene supplies, etc. You can create shopping lists that you share and make sure that everything is evenly split between the two of you without one person having to foot the bill constantly. Number 5. Third-party apps. Finally, there are many great apps you can use, such as PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, etc., to help you manage your co-parenting finances. These apps make sending and receiving payments, tracking expenses, and reconciling accounts incredibly easy. It's about making the best financial decisions for your child. Co-parenting is all about working together to provide a loving home for your children, including managing expenses. If this blog post has been helpful, consider sharing it with someone you think could benefit from reading it. Visit shop.mommoneymap.com for more information.